Hi Vinny, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Lucy. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. So it's great to have you here with us. Could you just start maybe by introducing yourself?
Yeah, my name's Vinay Rathod. I set up VR Financial Solutions and the associated sister companies. I am probably most well known in the dental community for arranging mortgages and protection policies for people, and hopefully largely known for to help people in more challenging scenarios than many of the other people in our industry are able to.
Perfect. And so for people who might not know about VRFS, can you just give us some background into the sort of services that you offer?
Yeah, so I'd say the primary and most popular services that we help dentists with are arranging mortgages, so purchasing houses to live in, to let out, remortgaging, raising capital, buy-to-lets in all sorts of scenarios, complex multi-lets, portfolios, limited company structures, and more widely just all of the other types of insurance policies that dentists tend to need to utilize. So income protection is probably the most popular, but we provide the full wide array of various different policies and products.
Cool. And so you mentioned just now that there are obviously other financial companies out there, but how would you say you kind of stand out from them?
If we concentrate on other firms that have some sort of additional working knowledge in the healthcare or dental field, I'd like to believe that the service that the clients receive from us is quite different to that of a lot of the larger, more anonymous firms, where you may speak to different people all the time. There's a relative lack of continuity. The quality of personal service that they receive, we do fantastically great in the dental community because of the support of the dentists, and in order to keep that support, we need to keep giving them the best results and outcomes, so that we can stand out amongst all the rest of them. I've over the last decade or so, I've built some very good relationships with people in various positions at banks and insurance companies, building societies. We've helped establish some of the products that exist in the market today. So a number of the mortgages that are available for all brokers to use, whether they're widely known about or not, exist because of my work with the lenders in educating them about what UDAs are, how they work, why there is a relative amount of security and safety, where you should not really look at dentists the same way as they look at a self-employed, someone who sets up a vape shop on the high street or decides that they're going to give it a bash being a bricklayer self-employed for the first time. The dentistry is a underserved profession, and with a larger demand in the country than is available to facilitate. So that confidence that we've been able to instill in the banks and the building societies means that a lot of people they have already got, but are continuing to be able to buy houses, remortgage properties that they may have been told previously they'd have had to wait a year or two for. It's not just through our firm that the dentists, I'm pleased to say, are able to benefit from it, but those changes that we encourage banks to make are, like I say, available widely for the entire community to utilize. But we have some exclusive situations. I do have the ability to pick up the phone and give the call to someone high enough who can say yes if they're convinced, whereas the biggest challenge, one that I faced the first few years of my career, is you can put forward the most convincing argument, but if the person that is listening to it doesn't have the authority to do something, then it's not going to have an impact. But banging your head against the same brick wall for months and years eventually starts making a crack in it. And as the banks recognised we were consistent in maintaining a good volume of business for just dentists, they started to recognize us as a credible industry expert. And we've been able to work with some fantastic providers and hopefully some good outcomes for the people that we work with.
Amazing. And so what sort of issues do you help people to overcome? Why might someone come and seek your help?
Okay, so the most common, I would imagine, is accounting related issues. So traditionally, it's believed that you need 2 years of accounts to get a mortgage. Or if, for example, you've traded as a self-employed individual and you've been fortunate enough to earn enough money that your accountant says you should incorporate it and trade as a limited company, a lot of people think that they can't get a mortgage for a couple of years. A lot of dentists who do trade and operate as limited companies are of the impression that you can only get a mortgage based on the salary and dividends that you draw from the business. I've seen a number of dentists who have had to take massive dividends in previous years and pay a lot of tax that they didn't need to take, but they thought they did to get a mortgage of a certain size. We're able to negotiate mortgages based on projected earnings for NHS and private dentists, support dentists who have recently started trading, changed trading styles, may have had a difficult year may have had a different year, taken maternity leave, but then gone back. But the last year of accounts shows a big drop in profits that the bank would typically say, well, that's what we're going to look at. But overall, I mean, I dare say more than half of the mortgage business we do, and that's probably sort of 400 mortgages a year, are for dentists who don't meet the black and white lending policy for any reasonable lender as they are, so they don't have enough trading history. Their income isn't enough to typically support the size of loan they want. And one of the things that happened as a result of the pandemic, unfortunately, is banks, lots of banks, irrespective of how many years of accounts you've got, you could have been a dentist for 20 years, earning a phenomenal amount of money, you know, with a great track record, and along comes someone who's graduated from uni doing a non-professional degree and is in a probationary period in a generic company, who is considered to be in some way more reliable than you. Employed people, PAYE, will get higher income multiples from most lenders than self-employed people will get. So, for example, there are a lot of high street lenders that will meet certain criteria, give a multiple of 5.5 times income for an employed individual, but there are lenders where that same lender will only give 4.5 times for a self-employed individual, irrespective of length of trading. Being able to have a word in the right person's ear and the right arm sometimes means that we're able to support larger loans for our clients than they may otherwise get going through other brokers. Ultimately, we get a lot of clients come to us because other brokers have said, oh, we've been told that we couldn't get a mortgage, we've seen that you've been recommended, can you help? So large number of our most loyal clients are our most loyal because we got them a dream home where other people said you can't get it. And in other scenarios, remortgages are really troubling people at the moment because of the rates increasing. So I'm happy to say sometimes we can do a little more than other people can. Often that in the financial sector, it's misunderstood that you can't do anything different to what's published by the banks. If you know who to ask and how to present that to them, it's possible to still be a broker and do brokering instead of data entry and read the top entry that comes up on the results, you know.
Cool. Well, it's been great to hear more about you and VRFS. Just to end on then, what are your goals for the future? Is there anything we might expect to see in the next few years, perhaps?
I mean, in the last 4 years alone, we've gone from Niati and I, my wife and I, to we've got 7 admin staff and another advisor working for us now. We're hoping that with the continued support of the dental community, that we'll continue to be able to grow and just help more people, and be known as a brand that can be put alongside some of the larger, more prominent names in the dental financial sector and arena. Ultimately, we'd like to be amongst or as big or bigger than some of those in the next 5 to 10 years.
Mm. So just before we leave then, is there anything else that you would like to add?
Just that one thing that I would always encourage dentists to do is establish your hourly value. A lot of people, especially people who may not have come from very well-off backgrounds, they are motivated to do as much of things in life they can themselves, so they don't have to pay other people to do it. Sometimes it's a false economy. We can save a lot of time by not involving you where other people would have to come back to you. Our expertise, I think, allows us to intervene considerably more on your behalf than a lot of our competitors would be able to, without having to wait for you to spend time. Or if you're going to do it yourself, even more. I mean, it's a boring job. I wouldn't do it if I didn't get paid, and you could get paid doing what you do instead of filling out forms. And there's just a few other services we provide that I'd just like to let people know about in case they're of any interest. Our sister companies, we've got VR Energy. We've helped a number of dental practices with their gas, electric, water supplies and card merchant services by saving a lot of money. But also VRW healthcare funding, which we're able to help with asset financing, refurb finance, vehicle financing if you're buying a Tesla or an electric Porsche through the business or anything of that kind, or even a high-end supercar, anything of that kind. We're able to help you to secure the funding for it. So if there's any way that we're able to help, we would love to.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for your time today.